So in front of me are my 5 most used lenses of this year. And in this video, I want to rank the lenses that have been most important to me and helped me with my work. So for number 1, basically living on my camera, and number 5, every so often, but still just as important. And I'm going to explain to you how I use them and how important they were to me. So without further ado, let's start ranking these lenses. So in 5th position is the TT Artisans 27mm 2.8. Now, I recently made a video about this lens. I actually made a couple. I really like this lens. I love the price point, so how cheap this is, how lightweight, portable. There's a cap on the bottom here, has a USB-C port, so you can do firmware updates. This is a mighty little lens for the price. Like I said, I made a video about this recently, and this lives on my X Pro 3. It looks quite chunky here, but when you take off the back, it's almost basically a pancake lens. Build quality is really quite nice on this as well. I'm always thinking about how much this lens is and how much bang I'm getting for my buck. A phenomenal lens. There's a video here if you want to go and learn more about this and why I like it so much. It comes in at 5th because I don't use this for video. I am a hybrid shooter, and what I like most about some of these lenses that I have in this list is that they have a dual function. They can shoot both photo and video so well. Unfortunately, this doesn't quite fall into the category. I haven't had a huge amount of time, only since August, but it really has been on my X Pro 3 pretty much all the time. The next lens that is on my list and in 4th position is the Sirui Nightwalker lens. I got sent this lens in the summer and it made me feel things. When I say that, I mean that this lens has bags of character and allowed me to shoot in a different way and a different time of day. Like the title of the lens, Nightwalker, I was able to go and shoot in much more low light situations. I took it to a place called Great Yarmouth and was able to shoot some really lovely cinematic kind of shots, which is something I've been longing to do for a long time, and to shoot in low light is something that I rarely do. However, winter is upon us and it looks like this lens is probably going to be used more and more as the nights draw in. The reason it comes in at 4th and not higher, which I still think 4th is pretty good in my ranking system, is because I'm still getting kind of used to this. It doesn't have a clicked aperture ring, and I guess that's something I'm more used to. This is a cine lens. This is not a lens that is dedicated to photography like the rest of the lenses in this list. And I think it's just something that I'm just getting used to. This is a 24mm, it's a prime lens. So for me, it's something, again, I just need a little bit more practice with, but I love the shooting experience with it. And I'm sure that it's going to be something that sticks in my bag now that winter is here. So in 3rd place is the Sigma 56mm 1.4. This lens presented itself by doing a lot of research on a certain Fuji lens with the same similar focal length and aperture. This just kept popping up. I didn't want to spend a lot of money, but I wanted still to be, arriving at the same place with the same result. And this Sigma lenses are really underrated, especially when you consider price. The cost of living crisis at the moment, I do think price is a big factor in making choices. And if you are just buying something for the title, like a Fuji lens, over something like a Sigma, then I think you're making maybe a silly mistake, because this is powerful. This is a really good lens that has been able to travel with me. I took it all the way to Italy. I take it on multiple day trips, and it basically goes either on my XS20 or the X Pro 3. It really does pair well with the XS20. Having had that now about 3 months, that is a good combination. Even taking little videos on this has been great. It's the focal length for light, that it's a prime, and I love anything that's compact. As a travel filmmaker, photographer, I really like to have light, minimal gear. There's no real reason why it comes in 3rd place. I really just love this lens. I love the way it takes pictures, and I love the little videos that I can make with it when I'm traveling. It is a bit of a, I guess it's a bit of a travel lens. It's something that I can put in my sling bag and go out for the day and make pictures. I don't really use this for work. That's okay. This is something that is, you know, maybe spark a little bit of inspiration. I made a video about this. I took it to Brighton when I first bought it, so go check that out. That might be of interest. But the Sigma 56mm is definitely a really good lens. Right, in second place is the Viltrox 13mm 1.4. Now, if you watch and follow my channel, you know that this is probably no surprise, and you probably are already guessing what my number one lens is. However, the Viltrox made it to second, didn't quite get to number one. It was going to be hard to beat, but we'll get to number one in a bit. You know, let's talk briefly about the Viltrox. Okay, so it's an ultra wide, it's an aperture of 1.4. The build quality is great. It's got a nice clicked aperture ring. The focus ring is nice and smooth. It's got, you know, a good weight to it, not hugely heavy, but not super light, which feels nice because it feels like you've got something nice and sturdy. The image quality with this lens is phenomenal. And if I am vlogging, then this is the lens. And when I mean vlogging, I mean I'm out and about, I am talking to the camera and I'm quite close. Not like, I don't really use it in my studio, but if I'm home in my office and I'm filming something in a tight space, this is the lens. So this lens has been used so often this year, and I keep coming back to it. It probably lies on the camera, at least one of my cameras, 50% of the time. It contends with number one quite a bit, but it doesn't quite make it. And we'll talk about that now. It's no surprise, especially if you watch this channel, what made it to number one, and it is the Sigma 18-35. I can't say any more good things about this lens. It really, honestly, stays on my XH2S the whole of the time. So if you met me in public with my camera, there's a really good chance that it's probably going to have this lens on. Now, this Sigma does most of my YouTube work. It does most of my corporate and day-to-day social media. I film all my talking head stuff with it. I do weddings with it. I have done an insurmountable amount of work with it. And I think if I had to have just one lens, it would be this. The 18-35 focal length is beautiful. Sometimes there's a bit of breathing with focus. It's a heavy lens. I feel like, oh, I could definitely do a workout with this thing. But there's a lot of glass in here. This is a 1.8. And what draws you to this lens the most is being able to separate your subject from the background and shoot in low light. 1.8 is a nice aperture to be using when you're in a dark space. This is actually quite a dark room, and especially in the winter, it can become very dark. My bedroom too, so sometimes this is perfect. The Viltrox, like I said, is a 1.4. So again, those two lenses, they battle it out, but the Sigma wins out for me when it comes to ranking number one. Congratulations. Okay, so they are my 5 most used lenses. This changes all the time, but number one with the Sigma is consistent, I must admit. It, like I said, battles out with the Viltrox, but these 3 other lenses I'm sure will fluctuate. It will take a lot to knock off the 18-35 for me. So yeah, this is for professional work and for my YouTube. This covers, you know, a lot of the things I do. There are 2 notable mentions that if we were talking last year, would have definitely made my list, and that's the 50-140 and the 35mm f2. Those 2 lenses didn't quite make it. I just haven't been using them, and I guess being gifted lenses, sometimes you're going to be playing with them sometimes a little bit more than what you had. But the 35 f2 sometimes does see an appearance quite often, and I will take that, you know, on a trip with me. And the 50-140, I've talked about this lens in the fact that I'm never going to get rid of it, but it's just nice that it sits on my shelf, and when I need to be a fly on the wall, that lens always comes through. If you've got any questions about any of these lenses, drop them in the comments. If you want to know where I got them from, I've listed all my lenses below. If you do make a purchase with the TT Artisans 27mm or the Sirui Nightwalker lens, I do receive a small commission because both these lenses were sent to me. I'm not being paid, but these are two lenses that I really love. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed this. Maybe we'll make one of these videos next year. Who knows? Let me know what your 5 most used lenses are of the year and in what order they come in. I'd love to know. So let's make some waves and I will see you in the next one.